Alright, we are live. Took me a few tries to figure out how to get this software working. OBS for some reason doesn't work really well if you're just capturing your desktop screen. It has like this weird fucking in focus thing that really fucking annoys me and doesn't really do what I need it to do right now. I don't know why that is. If I'm recording like my web browser or something, it works fine, but Simple Screen Recorder is the software we're going to be using to do this video. Uh, so, I haven't made a video in what, like 3 weeks I think it is. I've been kind of fucking busy. So, what was I about to say? I don't fucking know. Fucking half asleep here. The problem I've seen a lot on Twitter and YouTube and whatnot, in discussion forums. I'm just browsing when I'm fucking bored. None come to mind, it's just random shit. Is, modern Windows is not a good operating system. It's just packed full of spyware and malware and all sorts of shit that you don't want on your computer. And it's really a shame. So I've been using Linux since XP, towards the end of XP. When Vista came out, whenever that was, I don't remember, I switched over to Debian, and I don't remember which version of Debian it was. It was one of the earlier ones, and it worked great for the... It was a HP desktop at the time. It was a business one, so you could lay it horizontally. I don't like towers, and I simply don't like towers, sorry, because it puts a lot of unnecessary pressure on your motherboard if you have a heavy graphics card or a big fucking CPU cooler. Horizontal just makes more sense to me, but that's just me. I'm sure it's a non-issue nowadays with half the shit they're putting on motherboards, but I would still prefer horizontal, just to be on the safe side. Gravity is not exactly your friend when you're putting heavy shit on very expensive shit. So today we're going to review Linux, and in particular Linux Mint. This is my desktop of choice, and about 2 years ago, I hadn't had a computer really. I've been using my phone most, because I'm one of those people who was just using their computer for email and watching YouTube and shit. So I didn't have a computer from about 6-7 years. Just used my mobile phone, and I posted a picture of it on Twitter. But like the first one I got with a laptop, it was a Toshiba Satellite, and it was given to me, so it was free. And it was very old. It had a single core processor and a single gigabyte of DDR RAM. There was no number after the DDR, by the way. And it still had XP on it, but I wanted to go back to Windows. Unfortunately, Debian does not work on a lot of laptops for whatever reason. It's mostly hardware issues. Ubuntu has a better compatibility for laptops and pretty much hardware in general, actually. It's one of the things I like about Ubuntu. One of the things I always hated about Ubuntu, and they have fixed a lot of this. So originally they had that Amazon lens where if you search your computer, everything you searched for on your computer would go to Amazon. Fuck that. And then Snap. Right now, I've never really liked that in general, but now they're really forcing it. So on Linux, if I wanted to install something, I would do Control-Alt-T, because this is an Ubuntu base, and I would type in sudo, which tells us that we're using this as a root user, so we're using this as root, and then we do apt get install, and let's say Synaptic. Synaptic is a package manager. So then we'd enter our password. This is already installed, by the way. So as you can see here, it's already at the newest version. Now the problem is on the latest version of Ubuntu, if you do that, instead of doing the apt package manager, which is Debian, it'll put it through Snap. which is Ubuntu's proprietary shit. And I'm not very much a fan of that. And it seems, for all the progress Ubuntu makes, they do a lot backwards, and I don't really like them for it. You don't have snaps on Linux Mint, it's Flatpak. And if we type in Flatpak update, I think it is. So then we just hit yes. Okay, so if something failed there, I'll look at later. But you can install things through Flatpak. So, and the way you do that basically is you would go to your browser. I'm going to cover up my face for a minute, waiting for this to load. And go to FlatHub. Here we go. This is the App Store. And let's say you wanted to install SuperTux. You would go down where it says install here. You go ahead and copy, just highlight that. Then copy, minimize, Control-Alt-T. Go ahead and paste that. Hit enter. Hit yes. And now we are installing a game. It's basically a clone of Super Mario Bros. I'll pull it up in a second so you guys can get a look. And then we'll go more into the review of why I like Linux Mint over pretty much everything. I basically just spent the entire weekend. Let's move this for a second. I basically just spent the entire weekend going through the newer versions of Ubuntu. Backed up my entire hardware, wiped it, put it on my system, and it really made me realize why I hate Ubuntu. Because there are a lot of features that Linux Mint has that I just like using, and Ubuntu doesn't have them. The main one is, if I go to administration here, I go down, no, it's not administration, accessories, I go down, USB image writer. So if I'm trying to make a bootable USB stick, I can use that. Now I understand on Ubuntu you can also install something like Balena Etcher, which will work just fine. But I like having one built in besides Balena Etcher. That's just me. I like having my options. I know it's a non-issue, but whatever. What I do like about Pop! OS by System 76 is that they have something called Popsicle, which is basically a USB writer. So if you wanted to, you could use that, or you could use Balena Etcher. But my biggest problem with System 76's Pop! OS is I ran into a lot of issues installing other desktop environments on it through either the store or their actual web page, which, you know, you just copy and paste it. It came up with so many issues and errors. When I updated it, I didn't update it like Linux Mint where you can work and it updates. It literally blocks you out like Windows would and updates it that way. I don't like that. I also don't like the fact that it changed my keyboard preferences, so all my keyboard shortcuts that I had customized, it reset everything back to default. So Pop! OS, for me, it's not something I would use. I also don't like GNOME 3 the way it is. It looks something like you'd find on a tablet, even though it's very much not for a tablet because it has so many keyboard shortcuts. Linux Mint, this is the Cinnamon desktop environment you're looking at, and it is based off GNOME 3, but it is very much what GNOME 3 should be. So we're going to close that for a second, and we're going to go ahead and shut that down. Go into my file manager, a bunch of YouTube videos that I'll show you how to do that in a second too. What was I going to say? So this is the Sin7 start menu. So if I go to System Settings, Go ahead and move that over. And we go to applets here. These things here are applets. And as you can see, we have the Sin 7 start menu. Right now, yeah, it's giving you the look of Windows 7. The mate menu would look like this. So this Windows 7 layout looks like this, and then you go to all programs and it does that. The mate menu, if we go to configure, I'll cover up my face a little bit here. The mate menu, so we hit the, I hit that by accident. Sorry about my computer being loud, it's an old piece of shit. So the mate menu is basically reversed and it does this. So this is showing at all times. And the reason why I like the 7 menu, I didn't like Windows 7 as an operating system, simply because the Aero desktop. This laptop came with Windows 7. I have a copy of Windows 7 Ultimate somewhere over there on a disk. I don't like using it. The Aero desktop is what made Vista fail. It would not work on low-end hardware. And this is very much for laptop low-end hardware. And Linux just works better, unless you're doing a bunch of shit, and then not so much. But the default menu for Cinnamon, in case you're wondering, looks like this. So we're just going to go ahead and add that for a second. And as you can see, it's got the default logo. I actually changed that. I'll show you how in a second. And that's what the default layout looks like. You have this, you have the lock screen, lockout power, and then you have your favorites, and then you have all this shit. And I like the Windows 7 look better. But then you have your themes, so you can truly customize it. I mean, as you can see here, I have all dark gray for everything here, but you can change it. So let's say you wanted to window wide dark. Let's say purple, and you want to do the buttons blue. So as you can see here, that's blue. Is that blue? I don't know. Doesn't look too blue to me. Let's say pink. Okay, purple and pink. And I'm going to change that back because that looks fucking stupid to me. And then you would go to, where is it? Windows? Is it? No. So cover flow there, you have a bunch of different options, but I like cover flow the best because when you hit Alt Tab it does this. So that's cover flow. Which one am I looking for here? Was it themes? I think it's this one actually. So let's say purple again. Again, that icon doesn't look too purple. But yeah, these are purple now. Okay. So that's how you would do that. I'm going to go back to gray because this color scheme looks like shit to me. I don't like bright colors. I really don't. Okay. That's more my liking. Okay, there we go. And you can just customize that as you want. Then you have date and times, privacy, whatnot. This is a very simple setup. That's why I like it so much. Everything's just there. The other thing I like about Linux over Windows is if you go to touchpad or mouse, you can customize the acceleration. So if I go low, as you can see here, it's very slow, which is how it feels on Windows, is about that. Whereas on Linux, I can customize the acceleration, I can zoom around, and it works much better. It makes low-end hardware feel very much more expensive than it is. And I very much appreciate that about Linux. So WaterFox is not installed by default, but if you wanted to install software, the most popular way to do that would be go to the Software Manager. Turning on the fan because it's fucking computer. So here we have the Software Manager. And so I already have a lot of these installed through Flatpak. And the reason why I went through Flatpak instead of this is simply because you get a newer version. But accessories, you have all this shit. I might actually open up a window just because it's too hot in here for my laptop. And as you can see here, you have a bunch of accessories here. And for internet, you have your Firefox browser, your Chromium browser, your Thunderbird for your email, transmission for torrents. And no, torrents aren't just for torrenting music. It's also for installing some Linux distros that will prefer you use a torrent just because it's safer. So that's that. And if you need to get work done, you have your LibreOffice. Nano is for text editing. So if you're doing everything through the terminal for like editing files and whatnot. I'm trying not to get into the more, how should I say, advanced uses of it, because I'm trying to make this as better for beginners as possible. But what I like most about Linux Mint is the Flatpak integration. On Ubuntu or anything, I have to uninstall snapd, which is the Snap Package Manager that's proprietary to Ubuntu. It's not even open source. And then I have to install Flatpak. Even though I do that, in order to see the Flatpak when I install it, as you can see here, I haven't rebooted my computer, I haven't logged out or anything. If I go into games, there's SuperTux Cart. On any version of Ubuntu or Pop! OS, I have to reboot my computer or log out just to see my flats in my app drawer, and that is a pain in my ass, and I absolutely hate it. But as you can see, everything's here. As you can see, I have Discord, the OBS Studio. I actually uninstalled LibreOffice from that came with Linux Mint just to install the newer version through Flatpak. Kdenlive for the video editing. Krita. Calibre. I'll actually show you Calibre too. So if I want to write up a Word document, I would go to Office. I would go to LibreOffice Writer. Now you can install Microsoft Office fonts, and you can export it to something Microsoft Office can use. I'm not going to get into that. I still have to set it up. So I just reinstalled this system the other day. I've still got a couple things I have to do. So we're going to go ahead and load this up. And so we're going to go ahead and make this smaller here. And move that over here. Okay. Okay, I can't do one on top of the other, so fuck it. But, I know I've been using Linux a lot of time, and it's still learning. Still learning. It's good, though. It's good when you're still learning, so... As you can see, we are typing. I misspelled a word. Not what I wanted. Adorable. There we go. And then you can go ahead and save that, whatever. I'm not going to. But you have your writing. Don't save. Let's go ahead and make this bigger. Because I really don't like using sheets. Unless I have to. Unfortunately, OBS, like I said, doesn't record the background very well like Simple Screen Recorder does. Gotta make do what you got. And then, what was it I wanted to show you? Oh yeah, Super Tux. Now you do have other games besides what's on this. The best part about Super Tux is it's open source, so I can't get copyright struck for this shit. I don't know who made this, but thank fuck they did. This is a great looking clone of Super Mario Brothers. So Tux, the Linux mascot, is on a date with whoever the fuck Penny is. Go ahead and turn that down. It's like the weirdest fucking story ever. I'm not gonna actually play this level completely. I just want to show you guys how you there we go. Options. What do we got here? Let's do full screen. Set up keyboard. Up, down, action. I want the So we're just using the arrows to move. And the spacebar to jump. And then snowball makes you grow. And then so if we press down and then we hit the spacebar, we can do backflips. And now if we hit Z, we can shoot fireballs. Which is just like literally coming out of his belly button. How do I get up there? Fuck it. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and abort that. Go ahead and quit. So that was Super Tux. It's a pretty fun game. You have Steam, of course, so if you're gonna play Steam games, there's a lot of Steam games. So if we go to Waterfox, you can also, besides Steam, go to GOG. And then, go to Store, go to Linux. And while these are digital, you actually own them, so that's cool. I don't actually own anything, I just found out about this the other day. So these are all the games that you can buy and play on Linux natively. The new Witcher 3 isn't out for this, but you have Baldur's Gate, Witcher 2, Witcher 1. So you have some good games. Then, of course, you have Steam. Steam won't run on this hardware at all. Sorry, I just ate a platter of hamburger helper. Fucking full. So you can do a lot of productive work on Linux. I do video editing and whatnot for my YouTube channel. I use GIMP for my thumbnails. GIMP is like Photoshop. There's a lot more detailed videos on YouTube about Linux, but personally, for what you get for free, I should say, because this is free, you can just go and download any Linux operating system. It's not going to cost you anything. And there's no, as you can see, there's no activation logo here like there is on Windows. If all you're doing is just searching the web or checking email and stuff like that, writing documents, and you can't put up with the fact that, Windows updates at the worst times, switch to Linux. If you're doing basic video editing and whatnot, you can do that on Linux. Try it out. If you are just getting into that sort of thing like I am, it's actually better to figure it out on Linux than having to have used Adobe or something like that, because then you have to relearn everything, because things are a little different on Linux. There are keyboard shortcuts that are different. There are various things that are different from what I hear. I don't know. I've never used fucking Adobe. But yeah, it is a very well done operating system, especially Linux Mint. It's very stable. Anytime there's an update manager will show up here. It's just a very good operating system. And if you want to try Ubuntu, go ahead and try Ubuntu. It might work for you, might not. For beginners, though, I would recommend Linux Mint over everything. It is very well polished, very stable, and it just works. And unfortunately, I haven't used Windows since XP, really. And I say that because I have used Windows 7 occasionally. But I've never really had it on my own hardware, with the exception of 7. And even then, it's only because I'm testing something out or seeing if something can work better. It can't. Not for what I need. But I do like experimenting with different operating systems. I will not put Windows 10 though on my computers. Just won't. I don't like Windows 10 for what it is with all the spyware, and I just can't in good faith use it. I would rather use Mac OS, or what is it, Catalina or whatever they're on now. I would rather build a Hackintosh, and recommend that you do the same, than use Windows. I just would. But I'm going to end the video here, and I'm going to do another review on something in a few days. But like the comment, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you did. Leave a comment of what operating system you're using and what problems you found with that operating system. And I just encourage you, take a look at what you're doing with your computer and figure out if what you can do on Linux. Because at this point in time, with the way software is going, it would just be better if more people were on Linux. And you don't even have to be like an advanced user to use something like Linux Mint or Ubuntu. It is very beginner friendly. And I will always applaud them for their simplicity, but I do not like some of the choices Ubuntu has made. And just going through this last weekend, of just spending time installing 3 different flavors of Ubuntu and Pop! OS, it really made me realize, I've been using Linux Mint for a year, and it made me realize this really is, for me, the best operating system. There is really no replacement for Linux Mint. It is based off Ubuntu, but what that means is, because Ubuntu is based off Debian, is any package for Debian, any package made for Ubuntu, it will work. I can install Debian files, on Ubuntu, or I can do it on Linux Mint. If I have Wi-Fi dongle somewhere around here. I think it's over there. Uh, it will not work on Debian because it was programmed for Ubuntu. Uh, you can get it to somewhat work on Debian, but it won't work completely. Package missing or something. It's almost impossible to do it around. And I don't like when companies do that, but at the end of the day, that's what they do. And it's something we have to realize. How much proprietary stuff are we using? How much can we get rid of? That's a question we have to ask ourselves. And yeah, sure, the hardware might be proprietary, cool. But how much of the software can we do as open source? Even though Linux Mint is open source, there is a lot of proprietary software in it. And that's mainly for the video codecs and everything. So if you're watching videos, it'll just play. I recommend you using VLC, simply because I recorded a video with my knockoff GoPro in 1080p 60 and 4K 60. And MPV and the default player in this, which wasn't GNOME MPV, it stuttered and didn't play smoothly at all. VLC will play just fine. So yeah, leave a comment of what operating system you use and what problems you have with it. If you like the video, go ahead and like, maybe subscribe. I'm going to make another video later on this week about the Apple TV because I think I've had enough time with the update. I didn't want to do it immediately like some of the people did. I like to get to use shit and work my own opinion on things before I make a video. But I have been using Linux Mint for about a year, and it is a very good operating system. And if you're one of the people who use Windows and you're thinking, why can't I do my work, whether I'm writing a document or whatnot, and update? Linux Mint will allow you to do that, even if you're updating your entire fucking system. Never had an issue. Ubuntu, Pop! OS, not so much. I mean, you can update and work, but you can't update your system and work. But Ubuntu and Linux Mint, Pop! OS, those are the three most user-friendly distros. Distro stands for distribution. There are other Linux YouTubers out there. Go ahead and search for them on YouTube. I'm not the only one who uses Linux on this channel. I'm going to just end the video here because I'm just rambling at this point. But, yeah, hope you liked the video and hope you learned something. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. And I'm pretty sure I just ripped that off because I'm pretty sure I heard that somewhere else. Alright, bye.